Okay, so Sam, at the start of these things, we usually have some kind of off-the-cuff intro.
Off the cuff, hey?
Yeah, so it's like so funny. Troy, you got anything in the back of your mind? Sometimes you have something for an intro.
I actually think that this could be the intro, just you saying that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think this should be the intro.
The funny thing is, in fact, that you are not funny. And I think the audience will appreciate that.
Bubble down.
Bubble down, intro roll. Hello and welcome back to Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast. My name is Troy, his name is Crispy, and we're the hotline that accepts your calls throughout all of time and space. And we are halfway through season 1 of Doctor Who, more than halfway now, actually, because we have just seen episode 5 of season 1, Dot and Bubble, and we're here to talk about it. But much like every other episode we've had so far for this season, bar the first one, we've got a special guest. So would our special guest this time like to just take the lead and introduce yourself? Who are you and what do you do?
Oh, well, hello, everyone. And thank you, boys, so much for having me, first of all. It's an honour and a privilege, might I just say. My name is Sam, fellow Whovian. I would assume that those watching and listening to this are Whovians, because that would be a good start.
Mostly.
Yeah. They're mainly Star Wars fans.
Yeah, for sure. It was actually really funny. Prior to starting this, I was like, how long have I been watching Doctor Who for? And it's like, I think 20 years this year that I've been watching it.
Which
is
oh
insane.
My gosh.
Yeah, because I started watching like a few of the classics on the ABC here in Australia, and then that rolled into like the Eccleston era when that first aired and all of that. So it's been a journey.
Wow.
But yeah, my name's Sam, avid Whovian. I do fan art on the side, so I've got a fan art account on Instagram where I've got some Who pieces on there, so that's pretty.
You should check it out, Troy. It's actually sensational
thank
stuff.
you.
It's
Okay,
sensational
all right.
stuff.
I might just do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's about it. But I mean, I'm sure they didn't come here just to hear about me. I think we've got an episode to talk about, fellas.
They certainly do. They certainly do. And some of you might be wondering why I actually brought Sam on. Well, Sam is a real life friend of me, Crispy.
Unfortunately.
And we, like on my channel, we used to have a thing called the Whobusters that we did during lockdown when everyone was depressed. And now...
Gee whiz.
just
The mood just took a turn, didn't it? Blimey.
And so that was a little bit of fun during lockdown.
For sure.
And yes, so there was also a show in Australia called Whovians, which is like a Doctor Who after show.
Yeah.
And Sam and I were frequent audience members there. And that was hosted by Rove McManus. So Sam and I have history, but now Sam and I are about to make history talking about Dot and Bubble with you, Troy. And I'm very, 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 very excited. Troy, where do you want to start? Where do you want to start with this?
Well, I mean, I could start with what I love to do.
Oh no.
I could. You've put it over to me, and I think it's always fun to get initial impressions, because even though I don't think it makes or breaks an opinion, I think it's interesting to get a bit of a ballpark to know how you feel about an episode with a score out of 10. So let's just lead with that then, and we'll do the same as we did last time. So one after the other. Scores out of 10. 0.5s are allowed because Thary's fought for it last week. But once again, I've settled on a whole number. We'll see. Have you seen my tweet, by the way, this time, Crispy? Have you not seen it?
Yeah, I did. I know.
Okay, so you know ahead of time. So there'll be less arguing this time, I hope. Or less abuse for my opinions, because I felt very victimised last week.
Never know.
Sam, would you like to give your score out of 10 first for Dot and Bubble?
Oh, I mean, I'm scared because I don't want to upset those that like the episode too much.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna give it about a 5 for me.
Crispy, tell me you've given it a 7. Tell me you've given it a 7.
I've given it a 7. It is
I've given it an 8. Yep. The scale has completely changed this time.
Yeah, last week this was the case last week, except Troy was in Sam's position. Oh, that's so rough.
Interesting.
We're putting our guest on the hot seat immediately.
Yeah.
So
not only...
No, you know what? It's going to be a fun episode because it would be boring if we all agreed with each other.
For sure.
I'm going to watch intensely now, Crispy, and you need to bully him as much as you bully me last week, okay?
No.
Otherwise, we're going to have problems, Buster. Who, Buster?
No.
You watch it.
Whobusters.
You watch it.
Don't you make fun of that brand? How dare you?
How dare you?
Sorry, snooze you lose. You ain't done a video in ages. It's now mine. I have the copyright.
Wow. Okay. Well, look, there's a lot to justify there. I think what we should maybe do right now. Let's accept a caller first before things get too heated
For
in this
sure.
chat, okay,
Yeah.
everyone?
Yeah.
We had a lot of beautiful people call in this week, so thank you very, very much. Let's start with, who we got? We got Hoob. Let's go, Hoob.
Hoob.
Hello, Hoob.
Just Hoob.
So I watched it twice. The first time I thought it'd be, an out of touch sort of commentary on social media. But then the second time, once I knew the themes of conformity and segregation and racism, that shone a completely new light on it, and I really enjoyed it.
Hands down, well put, Hoob.
Mm.
Very well put, Hoob.
Ooh.
Thank you.
So, let's ask a question that I've seen a few people asking on Twitter that feels very apt to this. At what point in the episode did you notice there were no black people in Fine Time?
Look, I know that's going to sound bad, but I didn't think much of it. I thought I don't think it's set on Earth at all. So this could have just been an alien, there wasn't a time in Hungry Earth when I was like, oh, there are some Silurians that don't all look the same, This is like an alien planet. Race really wasn't on my mind. Maybe that's a bad thing to say, but I didn't notice
I
at
should
all.
realise I'm not saying that to call you out, because I think there's some very different points here, and I've thought about this quite a bit, because I feel personally like I'm really interested in seeing the fans' reaction to this one. Because there are different ways you could perceive it. I mean, there's two different ways for one thing that you could not notice till the end. I mean, it might just be that you don't consider race in the sense of, there shouldn't be any black people, there shouldn't be any white people, blah, 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 blah. You don't think about it. It's second nature for just anyone to be at any place. Or you just don't realise afterwards and go, oh, it's not about race, though. Oh, why are you making it about race? It's just everyone happens to be white. And hopefully we won't have many people of those, or anyone in that way. But there's different ways to perceive it. And I feel like you and I are in the same boat, because I didn't notice it until the start of that scene. As soon as that scene kicked off, of her saying, why should I come with you? I went, oh, no. And it clocked, and the penny dropped, and I went, I didn't notice that till earlier. And I think it's just because, again, you just don't think about it. Or at least some people don't. But, different people have had really different aspects on when that penny is dropped. And for some people in the community, I've seen some Black Doctor Who community members who've said they spotted it really early, or spotted some of the more thorough line comments, especially how the 15th Doctor gets blocked by Lily, whereas when Ruby pops up, she kind of gives her a chance and then kind of sticks it out. There's other lines like that. It's really interesting to see the analyses that have come out of this. I'm really fascinated by it. It's one of the reasons I really like this episode.
Yeah, no, that's very, very well put, Troy.
Very valid.
Thank you.
Now, Sam,
Yes.
our guest,
Yes.
can I ask you, what was your experience watching this episode? What was it like? Where were you, first and foremost? Did you have breakfast?
Actually, for this one, because normally I'll wake up first thing on a Saturday for us here in Australia and put it on the big screen in the lounge room. But this one, I had a few things on that day, so I didn't get to watch it until late that night.
No, it's not bad.
Yeah, but I avoided any and all spoilers, which was great. But no, yeah, I mean, it's not at all a bad episode. I think for me, with this series in general so far, and it's like what I was saying to you before, Crispy, it's like, I think a few of them for me just haven't got that oomph that we've seen in previous years. And unfortunately for me, this was one of those episodes. I'm sorry, do not hate me, everyone.
It's fine, it's valid.
No, but overall it's fine. And Troy's just gearing up.
Punch in my hand. I'm ready for a scrap. I'm ready for a scrap.
Yeah.
It's like I gave last week's a 5. We don't remember that.
Yeah. I think, but in saying that, I think a really great aspect of these episodes has been Shooty and Millie. They've been absolutely incredible, and some of my favorites so far to play a doctor and a companion. And it's always such a treat to see them on screen. I think, part of me was thinking with this episode, I was like, did I not enjoy it that much because they weren't as active as they have been in previous episodes? Maybe that's to do with it. But yeah, I mean, overall, I do think it's fine. I think it was just because I have only seen it once, whereas usually I'll watch them twice within the weekend, just so I can really let it sort of meld into the brain a bit. But I have only still seen it once, so I think watching it upon a second time, I think I would notice the things a lot differently and appreciate it a bit better, I think. But I was the same for you, Troy. At that scene at the end, I didn't even notice any of that throughout the episode. And then when that scene started, I was like, oh, I was
Yeah.
like, what a choice. And I think there was something so impressive in the way they handled it and the way that Shooty handled it in his acting, because it's very much like you've got this character here who's now of color, and it's always that argument that people make where it's like, well, if he lands in like the 1800s, like, would he be treated differently? Like, would people point him out? And I think we've gotten a version of that answered now, which is pretty cool. And I just think it was really interesting that his character is like, he's literally got the yellow road for them to be like, I can save you and put you somewhere where you'll be safe and you'll be able to live a full, happy life. But their morals, like, they're putting that above life.
What
And
they call
he's
their
got-
God-given right, yeah.
Yeah, and he's so just like frustrated by that he's like, I am willing to help you. Like, what is wrong with you all? I'm willing to help you, and you're not gonna like take that offer. So I think for that whole moment alone, like, it was a really, really great moment. But yeah, it was just like, up until that point, it was just, I think it was for me just an interesting one of, where are they going with this? What is happening? And I think the whole not having Shooty and Millie at the forefront for the entire thing was more of a reason for me to be like, what's going on here? Like, you know, and all that sort of stuff. But overall, not terrible. Yeah.
Well,
No,
I have a
that's-
question for
that's
you,
fair.
because you mentioned, just very quickly, sorry, Crispy, about the 1800s. Have you watched the behind-the-scenes video on YouTube for this episode?
I have not, no.
Right, that is even better, because that is literally word for word what Russell says in that. He
Oh,
goes,
really?
everyone asks, what if you put the 15th Doctor in the 1800s? And so as soon as he said that,
cool.
I've just watched it before we did this episode.
That's
And he
awesome.
made the point of saying, well, why put them in the past? Because racism isn't a thing of the
Yeah,
past.
yeah,
Put them
yeah.
in the future, because that is what
Yeah.
our times look like now. It's like,
Yeah.
that's really true.
Well,
And, like,
Russell, if you're watching, we have a similar mindset. So if you ever need help writing,
he's
I'd
angling
be
for the
more
showrunner
than-
job now, Crispy. He's stepping on your
Yes,
toes.
I'd be
for
more
sure.
than
Stepping on
happy
your
to
toes.
give you a hand.
Yeah, for me, I thought the difference, it wasn't race. When I've watched the first time round, I thought, oh, someone's come up and mentioned monsters, and she's gone, oh, I don't care. Whereas someone's come up saying, can I have some help for tech support? And she's gone, oh, maybe. But when you watch it back, knowing it, and like I said, you spot those few bits. There's
Yeah.
like about 4 or 5 moments before that scene where you go, oh, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, Crispy, you were going to say something.
Oh, no, I completely agree with everyone, which is nice. We're all agreeing with each other,
Yeah,
but have
good.
vastly different opinions.
Yeah.
At this episode, before we knew anything, pretty much, when they announced all the titles, we didn't know much about Dot and Bubble. Like, we really didn't. And I thought that this was going to be kind of like a Wild Blue Yonder situation. They're holding their like cards close to the chest. We don't know much. There's going to be something huge and bombastic. And then later down the line, it was kind of like dawned on me. I was like, oh, the reason they haven't said much about this episode is because it's another Doctor-lite episode. And I was like, oh no. And then I saw the previews of it, and like the color palette is like, you know, very pastel. It's very loud, very vibrant. And I was like,
Yep.
oh dear, what are we doing here? Have either of you seen Black Mirror's episode Nosedive? Have you?
I haven't watched
in
Black
there
Mirror. I
with
don't
Bryce-
think so.
With Bryce Dallas. Anyway, there's an episode called Nosedive that stars Bryce Dallas Howard.
I have seen that one, sorry.
Yeah. And like immediately I got those vibes, because in that one, like, not only from the cinematography wise, but actually plot wise, that entire story is about people doing things and giving them like real life likes. So you could do, you know, Sam could say hello, and then I go and see him, and I'm like, oh, I give him a like,
Yeah.
and then there's like this whole hierarchy. How many likes you get. That's where I thought this was going. It's kind of a similar concept. We've got people that quite literally live in their own a bubble. They work 2 hours a day. They party the rest of the time. I would love to know what the party looks like, because I get the feeling they all still have their bubble around. They're all
Yeah,
just
I
kind
was
of like,
wondering about
Yeah.
that too.
I think that like their whole they don't have any actual human interaction. It's all via screens. And like me personally, I would never talk to someone via screens and little bubbles on my screen at all. I would never do that. That's a joke right now, because that's what I'm doing. So throughout this episode, I was like, okay, we don't have the Doctor and Ruby, and we're following this character who inherently at the start is incredibly annoying. and no like any hard words to the actress. She absolutely crushed it. But I was like, I don't know if I can do this one. Hey, I was like, oh, this is going to be very grating. But then, my friends, that twist where I'm like, oh, I'm actually not supposed to like her because she's horrible and she's the monster this whole time. Completely recontextualized. And so, Sam, I highly recommend any episode of Doctor Who that you're going to rewatch. It should be this one because the entire episode changed for me. Like throughout the entire thing, I was like, oh, okay. This is Doctor Who does Black Mirror. Cool. Well done, Russell. Yep. You got your social commentary. Everyone should put their phones down because they're missing out on real life. You know, we're so addicted to technology, like fake connection, that we would actually not see the real horrors of the world. But in actual fact, that was just one layer on it. And then they said, oh, we have certain standards here in Fine Time. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, that's what we're doing this week, and completely recontextualize the episode. So I was going in like, oh yeah, you know, this maybe a 4, maybe a 5 out of 10, but just that ending and Ncudi's performance, it added 2 whole points to me because the rewatch value was there, and I don't know, I like this, like it actually did something for me, and I thought this episode was going to be completely forgotten, but you know what, I'm on rewatch. I'll keep coming back to it. I will come back to this episode, and I wasn't expecting that. So that's my piece. Peace out. Bubble down. Bye.
I think what's good about recontextualizing things, though, is that in the process it doesn't invalidate the previous deductions that you've made about the episode, because even though there is that new element of the racism that you might spot later, well, not new, but you might spot it later on like we did, there's still being closed off in a bubble. There's still only having a particular friend group. There's still only have a certain amount of views. And what I like, and it's something Russell's explained in a bit better detail than I could have, was saying that, you know, you argue at first, no one should be trapped in the bubble, they should all welcome opinions. You went, no, well, sometimes there are people like these who should just stay in the bubble because they're monsters to society and they should just stay away. So you've got that attitude of having closed friend groups, you've got being addicted to social media, and I love, one of my favourite bits of the episode is her walking into the poll, because I'm sure all of us in the call have done that at one point or another. You're looking at your phone or you're not paying attention, you walk into the poll. I've done it, I'll be real with you.
Once.
I'm not like, I don't want to say I'm completely addicted to my phone, but I use it enough that could happen, and I feel like most people have had something like that happen, so I like that he kind of had that moment there. But being addicted to your phone, your social media, having a particular friend group, being obsessed with that, and also just the idea of, like, also the class element as well. It's all the rich kids, like, oh, we have to work for 2 long hours a day. And I love that Ruby had a line like, oh, that's why I only work 2 hours. Okay. Like, there's loads of elements that I think even once you spot the other ones, the previous ones still work. And that's why I really like how this was written. Like, the subtlety of it and some of the elements were really, really strong.
I think it was more clever than a lot of us were expecting. And I respect it. Like, Russell, well done. You've done another episode that I thought wasn't going to be great, but you've done a good job. That's what I think. That's what I think. But Sam, I'm genuinely curious because I feel like we're all in agreement. How'd you land on 5 out of 10? Was it purely like nothing hit until the last 10 minutes, and you're like, oh wait,
yeah, kind of.
I get you.
Like, I get the whole, like, everyone's on their phones all the time, but I think that is such a message that is overused nowadays in media.
Yeah, fair.
Like, there's so many TV shows and movies where that's like a plot element of, like, people are obsessed with Instagram and Twitter and their phones and all this sort of stuff. So there wasn't really, for me, anything new there that I hadn't already been exposed to. And I think, because when it comes to this show, I love being immersed in the fantasy and the action and that element of being off-world and all that sort of stuff. I don't really read into the messaging behind a lot of things just because I enjoy just being able to sit and watch the show for what it is at, like, a face value. But obviously, hearing you guys talk, I can appreciate those things that are embedded within the script and the writing and the plot that most people wouldn't notice. Look, I'll admit, like, oh, Troy, was that a good selfie? Was that all right this time?
I was like, I didn't want to be rude, but I love the bit you said we're all addicted to our phones. So I thought, I'm just going to sit on my phone for a minute here.
That's smart. Yeah, good.
Crispy noticed it quickly, and I love when he does that grin where he notices a bit. I think it's so good.
Troy does visual gags on a podcast
It's
all
so
the time.
funny.
I'm sure
It's
the
so
Apple
funny.
podcast listeners love that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so, like, I think by the end of us doing this pod, now, like, my rating might very well go up. Just
I'd
by
just be curious
hearing
on a second
you know,
watch for you, if like, because
yeah, well, because
I really didn't enjoy it up until the last 10 minutes. We're very much in the same
Yeah,
boat, but
no,
I've had the
100%,
privilege of watching
yeah.
it twice, and kind of I've just done a
Yeah.
live stream on Crispy Pro, so like
Yeah.
it's the only thing on my mind right now. So
yeah, okay, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the way. But I do appreciate what you're saying. Yeah, the theme wasn't really, they weren't world building, and I don't really know if I wanted to know too much about Find Time. Really, I don't know if I wanted to learn too much about that. I learned enough. But yeah, this episode, yeah, the messaging was kind of more forward, but it wasn't like crazy in your face.
No,
It
no,
was
no,
kind
no.
of like even the last scene, it was almost understated when they say a few lines and you're like, are you saying what I think you're saying
She
right
didn't
now?
go, you are black, I am not
Yeah.
traveling with you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the closest we got was the guy saying contaminated. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like if you hadn't noticed it by that point, that should have been the point where the penny
Yeah.
dropped for most people.
In that scene, I'll just add the thing that really, I mean, not really affected me, but the thing where I was like, oh, was like after the whole ordeal's happened, you see Ruby having a bit of a cry.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow. Like,
My
and
mum
it-
spotted that and I didn't clock it. She
Yeah.
just mentioned, she's like, look,
Yeah,
Ruby's
yeah,
crying.
yeah.
I was so hyper-focused on shooting, I didn't even clock it.
Yeah. So I think, like, and that's why they're two of the best to do it so far, because I feel like there's so
They're
many small
amazing.
things like that where, you know, they just added in, even though it wouldn't have been their choice to do that maybe, but it was just cool seeing, you know, them both having their own moment, you know? So yeah, it was very good. Very well done.
Yeah, they are fantastic together, both Ruby, Millie and Shooty. But yeah, I think that's probably a main gripe of the episode. I wonder if they could have if they had a chance to do it again. Oh, maybe they wouldn't because of 73 yards. But imagine this, okay? Instead of what's her name, Pepper-Bean, they somehow managed to infiltrate Find Time. But
Yeah.
for some reason, the Doctor couldn't get in, and we find out at the end why the Doctor couldn't get into Find Time. But Millie's able to get in and kind of see what's going on. So I think that might. I don't know, but
That
I do
would've
like
been
the
interesting, yeah.
twist. I do like the twist that I feel like you're supposed to almost sympathize with the main character, but then it's actually revealed that she's the monster. That hits, but it could have.
Yeah.
I didn't-
But then 2 Ruby episodes in a row could have been different.
I didn't even
Yeah,
register. I've just, as you say about parts coming clear the more you rewatch it, I didn't even register that he wasn't getting in because of his skin colour. Because that's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
That's why he couldn't get in.
I think
I
it's
still in
kind
my
of-
head thought it was just that the TARDIS couldn't get in and it was a plot device so that he wasn't there. I didn't realise that could
Well,
that
they
could also
they
fall
never
under it.
directly address it. They do say that
Yeah.
they do say at some point, like it's one line. They do say at some point that they're not in the city.
Yeah, I can't get
They're
in.
on the yeah. And so I think that's where they
It could
were
well be. Yeah.
going with it.
Okay, well that makes sense then.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
Which is kind of cool.
Maybe this is a smarter episode than we think.
Well, because that's the thing. Like,
There's
I
layers
don't.
to it. It's like an onion.
There's the arguments that have been made for, you know, the Doctor-lite episodes and how Lindy Pepper-Bean's not as good of a protagonist as like Elton Pope or Sally Sparrow because, you know, they're not as likable. Obviously, that's the point of the episode. I didn't find myself disliking the episode because of that, but I did sit there, and it's kind of like what you've said, Sam. I'm not the biggest fan that the last 2 episodes we've barely had any Shooty. We have more in this episode, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that means a quarter of the season, Shooty has not been the focus, and that's just not.
Yeah.
It's not good enough for me personally. Now, the last scene, how much you love that and how much it makes up for it will vary between people. For me, that more than made up for it because I got to see him eat up the scenery for 5 minutes, and I was like, "This is why he's the Doctor." But I definitely did feel at a couple of points during the episode. I wasn't disliking it, but I was like, it's focused a lot on her, and I wouldn't mind a bit more of Shooty and Millie. Like, there was only really one point where I got a little bit, and it was when Ricky was trying to guide Lindy past the slugs, the man traps, I think they're called, and it was like he was really doing the forward turn left thing. I was like, okay, come on, we can move on a little bit here. This is taking a little bit too long. But apart from that, like pacing wise, I really liked it. That's why I don't give it like a 9 or a 10 because there wasn't enough Shooty, and because of the nature of the likability of the companion or the lack of likability. I'm not gonna sit here and go everything was perfect because at the end, like you said, Crispy, when she got Ricky killed, I was sitting there thinking, well, why am I supposed to care about her now? Why am I supposed to care who she is, what she does? Did anyone just hear someone scream, or is that just me?
No, I'm
heard
so
something.
sorry. That was my bad. I've got a brother in the room next to me playing online.
I was like, what? Is that a soundboard effect?
I thought I heard
Damn,
something.
Call of Duty really brings it out of you still. Good grief.
But please leave that in there,
Yeah,
Chris.
no,
Yeah, leave it in.
I'm leaving that in there 100%.
But yeah,
That's
like
so
I
funny.
had that moment where I went, well, why am I supposed to care about her now? And then as soon as that scene followed right after, I went, I'm not. Okay, cool.
Yeah. That, I mean, we've got quite a bit to get into, but I will say that was like an OMG moment for me.
Yeah.
When she was like, oh, actually, his real name's like Ricky Combs or something instead of, what was his name? Ricky September? Is that his name?
Combs or Coombs instead of Ricky September.
And then that, like, she's so selfish, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're actually horrible.
You're a
And
monster.
So there were layers to this. Anyway, we've nailed it on the head. I think it's time for one of our favorite segments. Troy, do you reckon it is?
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, I was going to say more
let's
callers,
do
but I'm
it.
fine with that too.
Ladies
Let's
and
do it.
gentlemen, it's time for one of my favorite segments.
Bingo!
Bingo.
What? I'll never get used to that woman. Still, it's
Bingo time!
I could never have expected a jingle like that for bingo.
Well, we
God.
do things a bit quirky here. Yes, everyone. A few weeks ago,
that's
Troy and I
great.
made a bingo card for season
did.
1 of Doctor Who, and we are very, very close to getting bingo. Troy, please reveal the bing of the go.
Can I get the camera on me for a second in the edit?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
me.
here we
Hello,
go.
and a boom. There's the bingo card. Ta-da!
Wow.
If you don't know by this point, which I would hope you do, you've been listening to every episode. If you're not,
Can you see it,
Do it
Sam?
now.
Can you see?
Yeah,
you
I
max
can.
it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
brilliant.
fantastic. We have a bingo card here based of things we want to see in season 1. Some of them are more jokes, some of them are things we think are more of a wild card, and some are more likely than others. For example, Mavity or the Doctor shouting run versus Martha Jones returns or 15 dies. So there's a wide array of things here. And as an update for all of you, the closest we have to getting bingo at the minute is 15 dying. As I said, at some point narratively, that will get us bingo right off the bat. Or also, we could have Donna Noble returning. That will get us bingo. And if not, we have one that's 2 off, where the Meddling Monk, a classic villain, returns, or the 14th Doctor returns. We get both of those, and we'll also get bingo. So we're close in a few things. But I think we have one card we can definitely cross off. And I have a joke for another. So do we want the joke first, or do we want the one we can cross
Go the
off?
joke first.
Okay, well, we said at the bottom that returning monster, RTD lies. We got racists, so we could cross it off. You know?
Damn. Troy's
Thank
cooking.
you.
Troy's
Oh,
cooking.
there you go. That's it. Thank you.
Look,
so what can we
I
cross
think-
off?
I know the one. I don't know if Sam would agree with me. Sam, what do you think is 15's best costume so far?
I was going to say, while we were chatting, I really, really liked seeing him in the one that they first showed us in
Yep.
like that image. I think it was really sleek, and I've loved most of his outfits so far. But there's something about this one that's really like he's a Time Lord.
Yeah.
I would put it as like easily one of his top 3 outfits. So I
Okay.
mean, I think that's a fair one to cross off.
Yeah. Troy, what do you
Yep.
think?
So yeah, if you don't know, this was a joke I made from the start that since that costume reveal, that has been my favorite 15 outfit, and I've been very, very upset to see it only get about 10 seconds of screen time in Church and Ruby Road, and that's been it. So I'm very glad to see it get some, although the irony here is that, you know, it's the outfit I've been waiting for, and we still barely got to see it in the episode, not in its full glory.
Surely it
I did
comes
think,
back.
fun fact, the coat, when I was watching it, I did think that was a bit baggy on him. I didn't think it looked quite as good in execution. It looks good when he's got his hands in his pockets, but it kind of flapped around him. It also almost looked like it drowned him for a little bit. I'm being a fashionista now because, you know,
Wow.
I'm such a fashion expert.
Troy's a fashionista.
But I still love that outfit. And just... I don't know. There's something about it that I just think is really cool. And like, if you asked me to pick out of all the outfits what an iconic 15th Doctor outfit would be, of course you could say, oh, it's because it's the first one you saw. But I honestly do think, just based on everything we've seen, that would be his iconic look. I know some people might say the leather jacket and the half zipped up shirt, but I like that, but I don't love it. It's not one of my favorite outfits, and I don't think it's an iconic Doctor outfit. So
Yeah,
it
I
kind of looks
getcha.
like Donna Noble's coat and 13's pants and some running stuff. Like, it doesn't look
Yeah.
iconic to him.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
I agree. So we have crossed off 15's best costumes for more than 10 seconds. So I think that's
I'm glad
it
I only
for
put 10
Bingo
seconds. If I
this
put
week.
more than 5 minutes,
Yeah.
then we might not have been able to cross it off.
We'd be in trouble. Okay, so that's good. I think there's going to be some next week, which I'm very, very excited about. But yeah, that's it for Bingo. I think we should definitely have a few more callers and we can give our thoughts and interject with fun and witty and insightful comments. So we have...
You know what I think we need?
What?
I think we need some French opinions. Can we see what Coraline's got to say?
Okay,
I like
cool.
getting the different accents. One of my favourite things is having listeners for everyone else. I just spotted Coraline. Let's get some of that variety.
Hello, Caroline.
Hi guys! Well, I was kind of bored for most of it watching a mid-Black Mirror episode, but then the last 10 minutes actually made it kind of good. And on the rewatch, it's like Get Out, you see everything in such different light. And Shooty was amazing in the last scene, nearly too. I did wonder, maybe because I'm mixed, whether someone who has been black for such a short time and doesn't have internalized traumas about it would react so emotionally, so viscerally, but really good, really interesting either way.
Oh yeah, that's interesting actually. That this is a new regeneration. They could have played on that, like maybe the Doctor like almost didn't realize, like they were, I was just a I mean, but I'm kind of like, I think I kind of like how few words were in that scene, if I'm honest, and we just kind of focus on Shooty's acting. I mean, we could have had some real fan servicey stuff in there referencing past regenerations, but
yeah, the Doctor's been black before, isn't it, for Fugitive Doctor for one thing.
Yeah, but like that, like
depending
the
on
Doctor
where
doesn't
you
remember
sit,
that,
and also depending on where you sit, the Fugitive Doctor in your timelines. I mean, I know there's still some classic purists who are like, oh, it's between 2 and 3. It's between 2 and 3. I don't buy that for a second. I still think it's pre Hartnell. I'm convinced of that.
If anything, so
and that's a time when the Doctor wasn't helping everyone, was working for the Division based on what we know from Chibnall, and was not like the best person in the world. So I don't think the Fugitive Doctor would have had that particular moment of I'm trying to save your lives, but you won't listen to me because I'm black. So that moment, and it's I'm not claiming this. Again, it's something else. I've loved reading the reactions on Twitter, but someone said about how like there isn't like a resolution to it. The Doctor just has to stand there and kind of embrace, I'm doing everything I can. You won't listen to me, and there's literally nothing I can do about it. And like that breakdown that he has as a result of kind of like half disgusted and half just finding it hilarious. Like, I'm right here, I've got a solution. You won't listen to me because you're an idiot with stupid views. Like, I love that performance. That's like what I've said to you a few times, Crispy, across this season about definitive 15th Doctor moments. And I think until now, my favourite has probably been the Space Babies and No One Grows Up Wrong thing. I think that scene overtakes it. That's like my favourite 15th Doctor moment so far. Just the raw performance of that, I think, just wins it.
That overtakes it by a mile. Sam, did you like Space Babies?
I don't think we've got enough time in the podcast to talk about Space Babies.
Better question,
not
Sam.
one of my
What do you think so far would be your definitive 15th Doctor moment, if you have one?
Look, I'm a sucker for musicals sometimes.
Yeah.
So in The Church on Ruby Road, where they sing to the goblins.
Oh, cool.
Oh, good call.
Love that.
That's a really
Absolutely
good call,
love
actually.
that. Like, I remember when that episode came out, I watched it a good 3 or 4 times just for that moment because I adore it. But like this, definitely in terms of like an emotional and raw moment, I think what happens in this episode definitely is up there. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well
Okay.
said. Well said. All
Thank
right.
you very much. There you
Let's
go.
have some other
Who have we got?
people in the hotline. We got Billy. Hello, Billy.
Yeah, Billy is. I'm not sure. Have we had a Billy before? I don't know.
We'll find out.
Let's find out.
Hi Troy, hi Crispy, first time caller, long time listener. So Dot and Bubble was an interesting one. I kind of got the vibes of Blink, except the ending, which was alright, but it was like really surprising. And the moment where Lindsay dogs and Ricky September felt quite dark. But the one thing that annoyed me the most was the fact that this was another Doctor-lite episode. I guess there was more of him in this than in 73 Yards, but like still not much of him actually doing anything. Like he was just speaking on FaceTime the whole thing. I want to see more of Shooty.
I would be so intrigued to see how long they actually had Shooty for when they started this series, because I get the feeling they had a week or 2 tops. Like, maybe less than that. It could have been under a week because he had the
For this
scenes...
episode, I think less.
Well, for both 73 Yards and this, because I think 73
true.
Yards, he was there for one day. He was there for
Yeah,
one day.
absolutely.
100%, yeah.
No
This
way
one-
he took longer than a day to film that stuff.
I was watching a teeny tiny bit of the behind the scenes, and all of his lines when he's to camera, like in the bubble, he's on a teleprompt, and he said that he read the script, and he kind of like he's learning the script on the fly, as he said. That he could have done his entire thing, and same with Millie. That could have been a day's shooting. And then maybe he was there for 3 days tops while he was doing Barbie and Sex Education season 4, which is crazy.
I think he's filmed his content for 73 yards and Dot and Bubble safely in less than a week. I would say that with confidence.
Actually, if you think about it, they could have done 73 yards in the morning, the Dot and Bubble
don't even.
stuff to camera
Don't even.
in the afternoon, and the stuff at the docks. He could have been there for 1 day. They could have had him. I'm not even joking. They could have had Shooty for
It's
1
not
day.
impossible.
That would
I
have been
doubt it, but it's
incredible.
not impossible. It's not impossible.
Oh no, but
So-
they did say that his first time filming was that scene, which is insane.
Yeah.
With like the scene.
Yeah,
at the
his
docks.
first actual scene was
That's
filming that
mental.
last scene.
That's
which,
actually
that's
mental.
Mental.
And Shooty just ate it up. He did fantastic. But I agree. It's what we've said already, Billy. Like, there's not enough of Shooty. I think, you know, I'm going to be really intrigued when we get to the end of the season because I'm already forming thoughts about it and, like, what I think about it. For one thing, I really, much like I thought, I'm not enjoying that there aren't any classic monsters. I'm really starting to feel that already. I feel like I want to see Shooty face off against
fine
something
with
we
it.
know.
I'm
That will have
fine with
different
it.
people will feel differently about it. That's
It's gonna be
fair.
so
but I kind
worth it in series 2.
It will be, but I don't like having to be based until a second season to be like, oh, let's see how Shooty faces off against a villain we've seen before. I don't
But
like that.
wasn't there like such a I don't know, almost a relief when Jodie finally got to see a Dalek and the Master? You're like, oh, here we go. Now
Yeah,
we're
but it
cooking
didn't
with
feel like an
Doctor Who.
unearned one. It felt like it was, oh, now she's faced Dalek because we've got through this season of saying no classic villains. Oh, now she's got one. And like I watched that thinking I wish we'd seen a villain of an episode of her against a villain sooner. Because when you think about it, all of her episodes against classic villains are some of her better ones. Resolution is fantastic. Haunting of Villa Diodati, brilliant episode. War of the Sontarans, Village of the Angels. You know, like that. I think sometimes you
They
don't
are
see the
better,
best of
yeah,
a Doctor
okay. Well-
until they're against a classic monster. So,
Season 2 is on the way, my
friend.
friend.
Honestly, I'm saying right now, I half want to see what Series 2 did for Doctor Who with David and Billy of having Cybermen and Daleks in the same season. I kind of want to see him go, like, almost catch up, which I know is unrealistic expectations for only 8 episodes, but listen, man, I'm hopeful. I'm
Sam,
hopeful.
what do you want? Do you want there to be Cybermen and stuff in Series 1? Do you want them to hold off until Season 2?
I say this for a lot of things, like movies, shows, games, whatever. They can do what they want as long as they do it well.
Yeah,
and I
fair.
think
Well said.
the important thing here is it's great to have brand new monsters while not incorporating ones from the past, but they need to be as impactful as the ones from the past. I think that is where maybe they're falling a little bit short, but at the same
That's fair.
time, I do think that seeing Shooty face up against a Dalek, a Cyberman, or one I've always wanted to come back, the Vashta Narada.
Ooh.
I would love for them to come back. They're probably one of my top 5 villains in Who. But I think a really good thing about seeing Shooty go up against a classic villain is you get to see his range within playing who he's playing. It's like, because if you go up against a Dalek, you've got to behave as though you have a like hatred towards this creature for years. So I think it would be cool just to sort of see how he would react to a classic villain, purely just from like a point of view of him as an actor, like just seeing how he would be able to
that's
sort
cool.
of, you know, do that. So I yes, if it's all new villains until next year, great, but they need to be like impactful enough for you to enjoy it. But then again, if there are classic villains, I think that is okay as well, just to see how well he handles it as an actor. So, yeah.
Nice. Well put.
I feel like I steered that call away from not enough
thanks.
Shooties to just not enough classic monsters, but I do agree. So
What I will add, though, is that the whole thing about him not being that involved, I didn't notice it until someone else mentioned it to me. Like, I was just kind of like enjoying the show, but then I was like, oh, yeah, 2 episodes now, he really hasn't been that involved, and there wasn't
why.
really a reason for last week why he wasn't involved. He kind of just walked into some string and vanished.
Yeah.
But I
it
think
wasn't explained, much like several things in that episode.
Yes,
Woohoo!
yeah. Oh, Troy, indeed. But I think, given that we've only got like 3 episodes left of the season, I think roughly, I think it's a very ballsy move for them to really not have him at the forefront. Because being a show like this, it's not like The Mandalorian where their main actor can just wear a helmet and you don't even know if it's him under there.
Yeah.
It's like...
Which it wasn't, by the way, for all of season 3. Pedro didn't put the helmet on once for that.
No, not at all. But it's different when he is literally like the face of the show and the reason why people watch. So I just hope it's a thing where maybe it was like this for season 1 while they were still trying to get their bearings with how to work around his lifestyle and schedule. And then hopefully when we get into season 2, there's much more of like they've hit the ground running with a certainty of what they want to do, you know?
Which, to that fact, also, I've got a lot of things muted on Twitter now, so, but like, I feel like tabloid articles would still end up popping up on my feeds from like TV Zone and stuff. Hasn't much been seen about season 2's filming, because it's been announced, Russell said that season 2's wrapped. They filmed it. And I swear the only thing I saw was that photo of Ncuti and Verada that sent the internet ablaze in January. That's all I know.
They had very little public filming, I think. I think there was...
Interesting.
I think they've realised for season 1 they need to work harder at not having public filming to spoil things, and I respect that.
In all fairness, like this season, I feel like I knew way less than a lot of other seasons that I've seen of Doctor Who. Like with the 60th, I felt like I knew every single episode, which was sad. But with season 1, I feel like they kept it under wraps pretty well, and season 2, we knew nothing except that they leaked the companion early, but that's fine.
Yeah, I'm really, really glad that we don't know much. That's good.
I'm all right with that. This means
all the callers we got to say, Crispy?
Yeah, we got Sam here. Hello, Sam. What are you?
Sam.
Oh, another Sam.
Ricky September is a Doctor analog. He literally fulfills the Doctor's narrative role, knows everything the Doctor says to Lindy. He's offering the hand, very Doctor move. His homeworld has been destroyed. He knows and hides a terrible truth about his companion's mother, potentially a parallel depending on how the narrative cutbacks play out. And then his companion betrays him. I feel like Russell may be setting us up for a massive betrayal arc in the very near future.
Whoa. Sam.
Like most Sams, very wise there, Sam.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
Very wise.
But do you think that he cares for Ruby so little that betraying him will make a difference?
Nice reference, dude.
That's good. Thank you very much.
Got him.
Thank you very much.
We bloody well got him. Look, that was
good
kind
old
of
Capaldi
weird.
quote.
Like when Ricky started acting all doctory, there was one specific moment where I was like, "That's really doctory." And some people online were kind of like, well, not just grabbing the hand when Ricky was like, "Oh, don't look at that, look at me, don't look at that, look at me." I was like, that feels very doctory, but I'm not going to read in too much for it. I think purely because Ncuti was away and they needed someone to kind of fulfill the save the day role. They were like, why don't we make it the hot TikTok guy?
Which is a bit sad in some ways, but
But yeah, that's interesting. And maybe, like Russell's big on his theming for the series. Like one big theme is abandonment. That didn't really come through in this episode, but betrayal was pretty much, I'd say, one of the bigger themes of this. And then there was
quite a big one near the start as well, to be fair. I don't know if you noticed it. It goes dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun,
dun-dun-dun. That was a great theme, dude. That's one of the most... That's an old theme. That's a 60-year-old theme, dude. That's well played.
Thank you. I'm on a roll today, I feel.
All right, let's take another caller. We need to have Matty. Hello, Matty.
What's Matty got to say?
Hello, Matt.
I've really enjoyed this episode. I thought the protagonist was perfectly unlikable. Thought the racist undertones in bottled societies was done really well. I do think it could have been 5-10 minutes longer to at least establish the homeworld genocide, and also the AI going rogue. I felt was quite a last minute addition that didn't really get addressed, but other than that, really solid episode. Also justice for Ricky September.
Just Ricky September.
Well,
I have a comment on the Dot going rogue, if I can take the lead on this, because I've seen people arguing that it's a plot hole of, if the Dot's evil, why doesn't the Dot just kill everyone to begin with? And I think there's an actual reasoning there that's not well explained, but much like people in the comment section last week saying not everything has to be explained to you. I know that, I just don't think enough was explained last week. That's still where I stand. But here with the Dot, I think Yeah, the idea. No, this was appropriate. This was appropriate.
I know.
The idea was the Dot. Obviously, it's got the idea. Obviously, they said that in the episode. It got so sick of hearing these people and all of that. Oh my god, working 2 hours. Oh, let's go party. It's got me. No, I'm just gonna kill everyone. Which honestly valid because I was getting annoyed listening to them. But but the idea is they create this monster so that something that seems so fantastical that they don't see because they're so ingrained in their bubble can start picking people off, and there's no real uproar. If the Dot starts attacking you, everyone's going to know about it and everyone's going to panic and everyone's going to try and fight back. So I think the Dot trying to kill Lindy is a fail-safe because it's probably gone, the creatures can't get to her, she's not exactly surrounded by people, most of her friends are dead anyway. If I drop my cover now and attack her, all I've got to do is deal with her and Ricky and then no one will be any the wiser. So like I feel like it was a fail-safe rather than just a why didn't it do it before? Because it didn't want to arouse suspicion. It wants to keep undercover. So it's only because it had to that it did that. So there's my plot hole explanation. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, well done. Thank you, Inspector Red Archer Live, for solving that mystery.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Another plot hole solved by the Who's There boys. Okay, let's do one more, and then we should wrap things up.
Oh, is that? Sorry, have you not got? Sorry, I didn't mean to hog the whole call.
Oh well, does anyone else? Did you say? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you had anything to add to that.
No, I'm good. I'm fine.
All right. Yeah, well, Troy,
I'm clearly I hit my quota for the episode. I'll shut up now. I feel
you've
like
absolutely crushed it. We've got a few in the chat. Let's have.
Can we hear what Chris Chibnall has to say as well?
Chris Chibnall's got a 1.5-minute message, dude.
Oh no, it's too long. No, it's too long. Keep it to half a minute, folks. Come on, people. Come on.
Okay, let's just have Alfie, Stormageddon, Dark Lord of All.
I like the sound of that.
Fun fact: if we got a third sequel to The Lodger, baby Alfie would be about 12 years old now. Anyway, Dot and Bubble. Holy crap! What an incredible episode. I absolutely loved it. It has got to be my favorite episode of the season so far, of all of Shooty Gatwa's era. I think it's phenomenal, and I think it reminds me the most of Chris to Jodie Whittaker's era of Doctor Who. It is just great.
Wow.
That
claim.
Me and Chris are in
wow.
sync. Out of the 5 so far, it's probably my either second or third favourite. It depends on because I give both this and Devil's Cord an 8, and I do feel very similarly on them. Like they're both really good episodes that don't feel quite perfect, but Boom is still my favourite. And I really, unless the finale is something absolutely bombastic that blows my socks off, I don't see Boom being overtaken because that was just a perfect episode. Like, but interesting to hear that, and I can see why you would say it because did feel like a little bit more of an out there episode. So yeah, that's intriguing. What do you guys think?
Sam, you go. Where is this ranking?
Oh,
your
you
season?
go, mate. You go.
Okay. Well, look, it's middle of the pack for me. I enjoyed 73 Yards and Boom more, but I definitely enjoyed this more than Devil's Cord and Space Babies. That's my
interesting
hot take.
Okay.
I think for me, it's probably in the mid to under half of ones I've enjoyed. Like I think for me, my top 3 are probably The Church on Ruby Road, Boom, and The Devil's Cord. I think that's my top 3 so far.
Nice.
So it would definitely go under there somewhere. I haven't worked out the spot for the other ones, but
you don't have to. Oh,
thank you, mate. Thank you very much.
Yes, you do. Do it now.
Okay.
We'll sort it out. Well, look, thank you everyone for calling in. We very, very much appreciate you. Troy, what are we doing next week, my friend?
Oh, we're wrapping up. We're not getting.
We're gonna wrap up. Sam's gonna shout out all this stuff.
Give us one more. Give us one more call, Crispy. Give us one more.
Dude. We can go one more.
I know last week's was super long, and you want to make up. You don't want to see me as long because you had too much of me last week. But come on,
you want Jason from the States? He's always.
I want Jason from the States. Give us a big energy finish.
Hello, Jason from the States. Oh no, I don't think it's going to work. We got to refresh.
It's got stuck. Refresh the page. Jason from the States. Let's see
Troy
what
and
you
Crispy,
got.
thanks for taking my call. 2 hot takes for you here on Dot and Bubble. Number 1, it's better than both Space Babies and The Devil's Cord. Russell, my hat's off to you. And did they really go out of their way to cast an actress and put her in that wig to make her look more and more like Donna Noble? I was getting major Donna Noble vibes from her. And, of course, they recognized Susan Twist as being from the other episodes. You know that's building to something with just 2 to go.
I don't see Donna at all.
I don't see Donna at all in there. Yeah, that's you, buddy. That's you. Sorry, but hang on. Yeah, there's always a twist at the end of our episodes. We haven't talked about season twist properly. We did a little. Sam did a little bit earlier when I was on my phone, but like we haven't had a proper because that glance that 15 and Ruby had. I picked up on it first. I love it that they both kind of look at each other and go, "Am I think? Yeah, you'll think. Yeah, okay." I love that. That's like. That before they actually say it, because obviously they acknowledge it then, and you're like, oh yeah, that's the woman. But if you have been paying attention like us, and you've got nothing better to do in your life, and you notice an old woman popping up in every Doctor episode, you notice that glance before they say it, and you go, oh yeah, they're noticing. Okay, we're all on the same page here, and I really like how they did that.
Hot take. I wasn't the biggest fan of that moment. Is that
what?
Because they've been building to this, and they're like, that's weird. Anyway, moving on.
To me, that's my equivalent of Boomtown, because they have that moment where the Ninth Doctor kind of goes...
But that's almost played for a laugh, don't they? They like,
yeah,
they
but
go,
I mean, yeah, but
and then
all
dramatic
right,
music,
so one has a joke
and then
ending,
cuts.
and one they move on. They both move on from it. Like, both of them don't have a proper resolution. I know it's better with a joke at the end, maybe in Boomtown, sure, but it's coming towards the end of the season. Can't believe I'm saying that with Dot and Bubble being episode 5 and Boomtown being episode 11 of its respective series. But, you know, they have that moment where they go, this has been following us around. What does it mean? And I think even, you know, the Ninth Doctor playing that off with his joke is just his way of trying to defuse the situation, because in his head he's thinking, I don't know what's going on, I'm a bit worried. Like, but he just kind of goes, whatever. But I like that there is that acknowledgement, and, you know, also there's debates now of, she remembers 73 yards. I don't know how much she remembers. You know, she kind of said she remembered being in Wales a third time, but not much beyond it. So.
Sam, what did you think?
I have only watched the episode once. So I think I know what you're talking about, but give me a refresher, just very quickly.
When they're like, "Oh, hey, Mummy's here," like this is Mummy.
I don't know if it means her mum or if it's like
for
some
5 seconds.
big figure. Yeah,
we might have just blown Sam's mind. There's been an old lady that appears in every single episode of this season.
Oh, that's and I think Shooty mentions it wasn't she like the
ambulance.
Like, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay. So is she? She's not the old lady that lives next to Ruby, is she?
No, that's Mrs. Flood. No. That's a separate.
Yeah.
Hang on,
okay.
Is Sam not aware of this plot arc? Are we about to blow his mind?
No, I think you are.
So here we go. Let's
like the
list
season
them
a lot
off.
more now, Sam. Maybe this is the
Wild
extra
Blue
punch you were looking for.
Isaac Newton's maid who's sweeping up, same woman. Church Newby Road, when the piano breaks and she says, "Give it some welly," same woman. Space Babies, one of the women in the staff who signs off on a computer, same woman. Devil's Cord, one of the women working in the cafeteria who tries to charge loads for a drink, same woman. Face of the Ambulance in Boom, same woman. 73 Yards, hiker that goes up to talk to the woman the first time round, same woman. And this episode, Mummy, same woman. They're all the same actress.
There's a very logical reason for all of this.
Yeah.
They can't afford to pay more cast members.
Mate, you took the words right out of my mouth. There was just a budget cut. Yeah. They had to get someone off the crew to fill in a spot, and that was it. No, that's
Russell made
really
that
funny.
same joke in one of the commentaries.
Russell, again, mate, if you need a hand writing anything,
you guys
I'm
are
right
the
here.
same. You guys are the same.
No, that's very interesting. I haven't noticed any of that at all. Because when I watch like anything, like movies, TV shows, whatever, I try not to think ahead, and I try not to think about what could come. No. Like I'm more than happy to talk about it, because I'll wake up tomorrow and not remember a single word of this conversation.
Yeah.
So we can talk about all we want, but like, because really the only thing I've thought about going forward was I do think there's a chance that the woman that brings Ruby to the church is Ruby. In some way, shape, or form. That's the only thing I've ever thought about in terms of where this could all be heading. But that's very interesting, because I'll now be looking for that, I think, in the next few episodes. That's very cool.
I think it will be a thing up until the finale.
Crispy, if Sam texts you next week and says, there's the old woman, I want to know about it.
Yeah, all right, Sam, do that.
Cool.
When you watch the
spotted
episode,
the old woman.
like,
There we go. He's on board now. He's on board. Well, thank you very much, Jason, for giving us a strong finish. A big finish, you might say.
Yeah, Doctor Who, big finish. Wow, fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, Sam, for being here today.
Oh, thank you.
Very much appreciate
This was a blast. Please have me back again.
We
please.
absolutely will.
Okay, fair enough. That's all right. Fair. That's all right.
The angel and the devil on your shoulder.
We very much appreciate it. It's been too long, my boy. It's been too long for the Whobusters.
It has indeed. It has indeed.
But hey, tell the beautiful people where they can find you on Instagram to see some incredible fan art.
You can find me at Sam's Studio AU on Instagram. And yeah, I've got some fan art there. If you're in Australia, sometimes I do a few of the cons where I've got a booth every now and then.
Yeah.
Next one will be Sydney Supernova in June, which will be the big one. So,
dude.
yeah. Christy, mate, I feel like you should come around to that one.
All right. I'll have a look at some plane tickets. Gosh.
Oh, awesome.
There's always a joke.
Wow,
with
this
Troy
site is
looking
dope.
for.
I just looked it up when you typed the name out. There's some really good stuff here.
Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah, if you scroll down a bit, I have got some Who-related pieces that I made a few weeks ago, or a few months ago now, I think.
Series 10 art. Oh, you've won my heart over. You've won my heart. You've won my heart. Beautiful.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, Troy, shall we wrap this one up?
No.
Yes,
I'm going to stay here for about half an hour now.
Bubble down, please. Bubble down.
No.
Bubble down.
No.
Off.
I've got to work. I've got to work for 2 hours tomorrow, bro. I got to work.
The dot is not obeying you anymore.
We have to go to work for 2 hours tomorrow, Troy.
2 hours tomorrow, please. We need to go to sleep.
Okay, all right, fine.
And we have to party for the rest of tonight.
Yes, we have to party.
Oh yeah,
Troy.
I did. Do you know what's funny? It's a Sunday hit today in the UK where I'm filming this Sunday afternoon. I've got 4 hours of teaching to do after this, so I'm working longer than Lindy Pepper-Bean on a Sunday. It's not fun.
That's 2 days, mate. That's 2 days work.
Yeah, 2 days work I'm doing today. 2 whole days. So you got me here. Disgraceful. I'm very upset.
Crikey,
so thank you very much for watching and listening to this episode. We will be back next week, as always, with our weekly episode reviews where we will talk about Rogue. Is Jonathan Groff's character really a time agent? Is he Captain Jack? Who knows? We will find out all of this stuff, no doubt, and more. I don't think it's Captain Jack either, Crispy. I agree. I think that's rubbish, but either way. Don't forget, you can submit your calls using the SpeakPipe link. It's available in the Discord and on our social media, speakpipe.com/UseTheGW. As soon as the episode comes out, whether it be at midnight or the live televised broadcast, send us a call over and you might feature in next week's episode. Crispy, are we revealing our guest for next week or are we keeping it quiet?
Mr. TARDIS.
Didn't even hype it up, just Mr. TARDIS. That's it. It's that one guy.
Whoa,
it's that one guy,
whoa.
Mr. TARDIS. Okay. Well, there's all the hype gone. Well, yeah, Mr. TARDIS will join us next week, so stay tuned for that. Until then, it's goodbye from our special guest, Sam.
Goodbye, everyone, and thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure and lovely to meet you. It's goodbye from Crispy as well.
Thank you for having me. Absolute pleasure to be here.
And it's goodbye from me as well. Goodbye. I'm getting away from these lunatics. See you all next week. Much love. Alon Z, baby. Stop. Outro.
Dot off.
Dot off.
Please.